Hey everyone, so here is an article that appeared on Monster, monster.com, called 7 Surefire Ways to Make Yourself More Marketable to Employers. Now, I do a lot of videos on how to answer questions in job interviews and things like that, but this article, there's probably about 1 million articles that have been written on this topic, and this is a much more general approach about being more hireable. Now, the first one here, let's go through these. Demonstrating your soft skills. Now, I agree with this one. This is actually the key right here. What a lot of people don't realize is that it's quite easy, generally speaking, to find many candidates that apply for a job that meet the technical requirements of the job. So either they meet literally all the qualifications and requirements listed in the job description, or they meet them enough that the bottom line is that they can do the job. Okay, so it's not hard to find that many people like that, but you then have to choose which candidate you want to hire, and often it does come down to soft skills. Now, what does this mean? This means things like your communication skills, your interpersonal skills, how pleasant you are to deal with, okay? This has been a big challenge of people going through a job search experience where you got to deal with recruiters and you got to deal with hiring managers. And unfortunately, especially with recruiters, a lot of them, how shall I put this? They're rude and they don't know how to interact with people, but you have to deal with them. There's no other way if you're going through standard channels. Now, despite that kind of treatment, you still have to be pleasant. You still have to be the type of person that they want to deal with. So, in my opinion, to the point of how to make yourself more marketable, I would say this: work on your soft skills, okay? The bottom line is that if you interact with somebody or you meet somebody, whether it's in person, whether it's remotely, or whether it's by email, okay, you want to be someone that they want to deal with, okay? If they meet you or they have an interaction with you and their reaction is, man, I don't want to deal with that person anymore, that's bad, okay? So you have to practice some of the techniques of how to do that, including saying nice things, smiling, etc., 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 okay? Now, what else does this have? Okay, that's their number one, and I would tend to agree with that. In fact, for people who climb the corporate ladder, who get more and more responsibility and become managers, as we go higher and higher, we find that the people have more and more soft skills. They have more charisma, they have better communication skills, better interpersonal skills, they can do things like public speaking, they can negotiate, and they can deal with delicate situations like delivering bad news in such a way that it minimizes the negative aspects of, people's feelings and stuff like that. So if you work on this, it will pay off for you sooner or later. Now, gain management experience. I like how this starts by saying easier said than done, right? Yeah, well, it is. A lot of people always don't have the opportunity to do this, but if you do, this is a good thing, okay? And surprisingly, you can gain the experience. Forget about the title, forget about the pay. Just look for that type of job, okay? And a lot of times it's a volunteer type thing. For example, if you start your own company or you take on management of some little project just casually among your friends or, at your school or anything like that, that counts, right? And you will learn valuable skills. Now, when you go for a job and you're interviewing with a hiring manager, then what happens there is that you will have a greater rapport with the hiring manager because you understand their perspective. So this is definitely a good thing. Build a strong presence on social media. Well, that kind of depends on what industry you're in, what level you're in. Sometimes this is more important, but sometimes it isn't. Okay, for example, in my situation, I'm in my 40s, going on my 50s, and the jobs that, I would be considering, you don't really need a lot of social media presence for, but that's just me, and that's the industry that I'm in. Other people, it's all important. So this could be true, but don't just accept it as gospel across the board, because it is not. Become active in a professional association. Same with this one. This is kind of maybe nice to have, but is not absolutely essential, and it's not even important depending on what industry you're in. Okay, if you're not in a profession, right? like you're not a doctor, a lawyer, an accountant, an architect, a surgeon, anything like that, then, maybe a professional association is not super critical. Now, that being said, a lot of times if you do have involvement in professional association, depending on the industry, it can open up a lot of opportunities, and it can be a tremendous networking opportunity. So for that reason, I would say check it out. Acquire new skills. This is definitely a good thing. Now, this does not have an immediate effect, of course, but just as a general philosophy for life, okay, if you like things, there's stuff that turns you on, or there's stuff that you always wanted to do, or you have a curiosity for it. The great thing about the internet is that we can learn all kinds of new things very, very easily with a minimal of effort. So do not shy away from it. Try to learn about stuff and try things, and then you add that to your skill set. That makes you more of a person, more interesting, and you have more general skills, and you will be more hireable. Now, they list examples like Photoshop, you can add that to your skills pretty easily. Public speaking, you can certainly add that to your skills. These are things that, generally speaking, make you more hireable. So just getting into the mentality of let's learn about something and let's add some skills casually. That will pay off for you sooner or later. Volunteer, not essential, but it can be good depending on the circumstances. A lot of volunteer positions are charity related. So this can demonstrate things in a job interview, for example, that instead of telling them that you have these skills and have them not believe you, you can demonstrate that you have those skills by virtue of the fact that you volunteered and did this work for no money, but because you enjoyed it and because you were getting something out of it. So that can be very powerful. But once again, not absolutely essential depending on what your situation. And then they do some advertising at the bottom. So that's what I would say here. Self-improvement is the key. And if you want to know what types of things to do, look at people who are advanced in their careers. Look at what they have. And if you go on LinkedIn and stuff like that, you can usually find their work history and their skills history. And you can see what they've done and how it's paid off for them. So that might be very inspirational and educational to do that kind of thing. And then just go and do it. Go and learn about it. Go and try it. You will not regret it. Thank you very much for your attention. You guys are awesome. I will see you in the next video. Take care.